Hello everyone, I'm Ciampa and I'm here at the Lanciano International Guitar Seminar in the beautiful building of Municipal of Frisa, and I'm very happy to be here. Thanks for being here, for watching, and thanks to Michael Newman, Laura Holtman and Isabella Bonizio for making this event, even this year, even if it is online, possible, and I hope to meet all of you in real in the next years here in these wonderful places and this wonderful festival. And today I'm going to speak to you about what music scores tell us about phrasing and what music score can tell us to play and to understand better what we are going to play. This is a very very big topic, very complicated, and I will try to speak about this through one of the music pieces that I really like more, and this is the Prelude number 4 by Heitor Villa-Lobos. I really love the 5 preludes from Villa-Lobos. I think they are one of the most beautiful compositions we have in our guitar repertoire, and I think they are pieces that they are quite simple in a way, but very rich of a lot of things, and of music expressing that, and technique issues, and harmonics solutions, and all the things. Let's say that it contains all the beautiful and also the complicated things of the guitar. So I think that analyzing one of these preludes can be very useful for us to understand, and to understand the process that I usually do when I began to start a piece, to study a piece, and so I think that can be useful also for you. So the first thing that I like to do when I take a score, well, first of all, if I don't know the music composer or the story of the compositions and all this kind of thing, the first thing is that we have to know about this. So I always try to know as much as I can about what I'm going to play, because also this can help us to play the music better, to put yourself better in the context of the music, so you can choose some solutions in a better way if you know what you are going to play. And but apart from this, let's say historical beginning, or this the more propedeutic this beginning, I try to create my own story about what we are going to play. So this, I think, can be very useful for us to create, with our imagination, with our fantasy, create a story about a piece that can help you and your expressiveness to express in a better way, and to understand also better what we are going to play. All we know, I think, this famous prelude from Heitor Villa-Lobos, and very important thing is that we have to know that Prelude number 4, like every prelude from Villa-Lobos, is dedicated to an aspect of Brazil, of Brazilian music, of Brazilian culture, and the number 4 is dedicated to indigenous people, indigenous population of Brazil, and already from this we can understand a lot about the composition. So once you have created your own story about the piece, and you identified the characters of the piece, we go back to the music and to guitar too. And the first thing, so maybe, is just to identify the phrasing. As we were doing before, as identifying the characters of the music. So in this piece, we started saying that we have two principal characters, and they are characters, but still they are phrasing also, because we have the first period that Villa-Lobos writes forte and cantabile, that is the Ciampa, you remember? And and then this is the first phrase, and then Villa-Lobos writes as pianissimo. So we have these two principal themes, two principal characters, and I choose to play in a different way, also because Villa-Lobos writes us for one phrasing forte cantabile, and in the other phrase we have something totally different because we have rhythmical part, because ta-tan, ta-tan, ta-tan. We have Villa-Lobos that writes as pianissimo here. So I think that we have to be very good to make these two phrasings very different. So for all the parts that we call the shaman part, let's say, the principal theme, so we have always to play very forte. Maybe I will choose to play with the rest appoggiato and very vibrato, while when we have all the part of the population, let's say population themes, we are more rhythmical, but pianissimo, I try to play very soft, and on Ponticello, for example, because it reduces the harmonics resonance, so you can really feel that it's even more pianissimo than how you could play, and with a different sound. So we give two sounds, two colors to the two characters of the two phrasings, and it becomes immediately very clear to the people that listen to you that you have these two characters and these two phrasings. So forte cantabile, very vibrato, with a good sound appoggiato, and then pianissimo, Ponticello, very far, and then again forte, and then pianissimo, Ponticello, very far, and then forte again. Sorry, but okay. And then again pianissimo, and then again the shaman, pianissimo, forte. We have the themes here. Still pianissimo, and then we end this part with this. Always the principal themes, and then. And here we have the final, the ending of this first part with harmonics too. Also Villa-Lobos make it very much more ethereal, much more in the air, and much more far with this harmonics. So I think that this is very important, so identify the phrasing and also give a character to the phrasing, not only the character of the story, but also a musical character. So you have to really choose in a good way how to play, and you have to be sure how to play these two characters with the sound and with the intention musical, and also with the phrasing. For the phrasing, it's important to choose the right fingerings, because we could play, for example, this beginning. We have some notes that we could play also, for example, with open strings. Could be, because the notes are right. But for example, I will never choose these fingerings, but this is my point of view. Maybe you can find a lot of different point of view about this, so this is just my thoughts. And I will never choose these fingerings because it doesn't very good go with the expression that Villa-Lobos writes, cantabile, because with open strings, you have more, you cannot move so much the melody, you cannot vibrate, and you cannot do vibrato, and you cannot sing so much, because once you have played the notes. So it's very different if you play, or if you play. The sound in this case is more darker, more round, and also you can sing more. And if you compare to think this option doesn't sing so much, so well. So I think that fingerings is very important, not only for the technique, but special way for the music and for the phrasing and for your musical intention. So if every time we choose fingerings, it's not only because it's the more comfortable, but also and most of all because it sounds better and it sounds like the musical intention that you want to give. So in this case, I want to be forte but still cantabile, so I can choose to play on the third string, the E. But I don't know, maybe you can choose also to play on the second. This can be also a solution if you play second, third, and fourth. Or you can play also like this. I think anyway here the sound is anyway dark, round, good, big, at least bigger than this. So you can have three options in this case, or that I prefer, but the third one, what I play, I prefer even more because here you give much more expression, you give much more voice to the melody, and you can sing very well and with a good sound. So anyway, whatever you do, I think the importance is that you do with consciousness about why I'm choosing this fingering. So you can also choose to do this. It can work also, but it's because you really want this sound. You decide to have this sound, and you have to be very secure about this because you really like. And you want to give this musical intention. Or because, for example, you like open strings, so you can leave all the open strings. And it can be more resonant, it can be an option for the guitar too. So, both can be, all three options can be good actually. The important is that you give the right musical intention. For me, this is the best. And also, later. Makes also more contrast with the open strings here. This is another reason I will never choose open strings here, because you have less contrast with the second character that is, let's say, you have to play with open strings in this case. So maybe choose a fingering like this in the first characters with this kind of position also later. Here, all this part can be any way. You can play here, or you can play here, or any way, whatever. But I like to play in this portion of the guitar because I can sing more like a cello player, and also Villa-Lobos remind us that was a cello player and a lot of music, or if you think about Prelude No. 1 also. So I think it's that kind of word of sound. So I want to be very expressive here, and try to sing as much as I can, and to have a tone and a color darker as much as I can. So I think fingerings is very important because you have to choose really careful, not only for the, not only because it's easy, but most of all because it's good to your ears and is the right musical intentions. When we go later to the sacrifice part, where it says animato, we have this. We are obliged in these fingerings, let's say, to do this because Villa-Lobos wrote in this way because he wanted us to play like this with arpeggio, with open string, and then we have the melody. And so, I mean, in this case, we cannot do so much with fingerings, but well, we can change something, but still, the idea here is that everything has to be more flow, so we go flow with the flow, and everything is more fast, more animato, and we are going, so the guitar sounds more, and we leave all the resonance. And so I think in this case we cannot choose so much about the fingers, but important is that we know, for example, that we have this melody. The important is that we know that we have the melody here, and then that we have here this arpeggio that is just the accompaniment of the melody. So when you play this part, we have to know that we want to make it listen this part. So I don't think it's all in the same level of playing. Also Villa-Lobos in the original score, he writes like the melody in a way bigger, and then the accompaniment in the little notes. So it's Villa-Lobos a lot of time use this kind of writing just to say, okay, this is the melody, this is the important part, and the little one is just the accompaniment. So we don't care so much about the part, so focus your attention about the melody or the important part. So here we cannot choose so much the melody with the fingering, sorry, but we can choose how to play it. So I would suggest play with the appoggiato, for example. The thumb, you can always play with appoggiato, or even if you are not comfortable with playing appoggiato this, anyway you can play more forte, the thumb, and then these three strings much softer. So I think even later when it goes to the down octave, one down, even here we have this, all this part, sorry. Anyway, when we have all this part, we can play a little bit louder the bass part, and also I would choose a sound bigger even here because things are going bigger with these chords, with all these harmonics part, but more down. So we need a bigger sound, round sound, and still, I mean, we finish with this part that completely brings us back to a new world. This chord suddenly is very strange, and we go to this chord that goes us back to. In this part, we go to a new part that is moderato, so we have to be, again, slower and more quiet, let's say, and we have to be very careful with these harmonics, that it's not easy to play because we have to play all this in different frets. So I suggest you to play really to the ponticello, for example, and not play so forte, because anyway the sound of harmonics go by themselves, so you don't need to play very forte, otherwise you will listen the noise of the harmonics, you will not listen the harmonics. So you have to be very delicate in this part and try to leave the finger just when you play, just you play and you leave the finger up, and it's like your finger is like in a way accompanying the sound going through. So it's like it's not like you stay like this, like not malleable, but just fixed. You are not fixed. You want the sound goes through the room, through the music, and so it's very important this movement, I think, and also very important that you play in this part with this ponticello, but very, very soft. We have to create this atmosphere. And also for the after, this is easier because we are on the 12th fret, so the harmonics here sound already better, but still always control, and also here has the 2 level as we were before, and then also we have here, even in the piano, even more piano. So this part, even if you play piano, we are in an upper level then. So I think that anyway, in a way, we are doing the same at the beginning, but with harmonics, and so if you are conscious that we are doing the same as at the beginning, but in a different perspective, in a different atmosphere, but still we are with the same characters, 2 different characters, and 2 different emotions and feeling of each character. And then we go back to the lento and forte character as at the beginning. And just a tip about the last chord we play. I listen a lot of people that play this chord like this, like arpeggiato, but I think that it really works if you play like all together the notes. Villa-Lobos writes forte, and he does. I don't think he doesn't want. He wants to play it in arpeggio because it's like one big sound, and it's more suddenly because we come from the minor part. I think that this gives us more sudden sensation, sudden feeling, and suddenly you feel this chord. So it's like a big surprise. So I suggest you to play in all together, forte, but with a good sound. Let's say not break sound, but just forte. Oh, sorry, yes, this. Just to have a good sound, very resonance. So you have to have a very big resonance about this last chord, and you have to leave the audience with this sudden emotion, sudden feeling, and with a lot of surprise and sudden joy in their heart. So it's like, wow, we finish in a totally different mood. So, I hope that this video can be helpful for your study and your practicing with Prelude number 4 by Heitor Villa-Lobos, or whatever with all the new music you are playing. So, thank you so much for watching it, and I hope to meet you in the next editions of Lanciano International Guitar Seminar. Thank you and bye. Ciao.